Go. Hello and welcome to Einführung in die strukturierte Programmierung or Introduction to Programming, ESP. My name is David. With me, my colleague Alex.
Hi.
I hope you can see and hear us. Maybe you can give us a short answer in the comments if you can hear us, both of us.
Does it work?
Yes.
Yes.
Alles gut. Sounds great. Perfect.
Perfect. Thanks for the feedback.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Alex, what do we do today?
Today we will go through the organizational details of the course. So what we're actually doing in the course. We will give you an overview how to get a grade, how the course is structured, actually also how the practical part is working. And after that, we might start with some first introduction on actually computer science or programming, where we will be very fundamental today.
Exactly. So I
think that's the first part for today.
Yeah, I think I switch now to this view. So you now see our presentation and we are here on the top right corner. I hope you can see us good. So yeah, we are in Einführung in die strukturierte Programmierung. The first question already is, why are we talking in English?
Yeah, that has several reasons actually. We switched from German to English, especially to, since programming is actually very English and computer science at all is very English. We also wanted to switch to English because it makes sense for some concepts or terms that we're using here, but also to support our international students as well that might have a hard time to learn programming and also learn German at the same time. And so our idea was to switch to English, which doesn't mean that you cannot talk in German to us. Probably you have realized that both David and I, we have very German sounding names. And so you can, of course, also talk in German, write in German in the chat. Also, when you write emails, the Discord server can also, you can also write English as well. So that's not a big deal for us.
We are fine with both. Let's say this, yeah. So maybe we start with the organizational part and with ourselves.
Sounds good.
So, as already said, he is Alexander Steinmaurer, I'm David Kerschbaumer. As Alex said, very German names or Austrian names. So we are very good also in German. You can call us du in German, so bitte sag du. I am now in my PhD, so I completed my master a few months ago, and I'm in the Sandgasse 36 in Infeldgasse.
And I'm currently not in the Sandgasse 36. I'm currently in the US. I'm here as a postdoc at Brown University. It's on the East Coast for this semester, at least a semester here in the US. After that, I will come back to Graz, which is about to December. And as I said, I'm a postdoc student, so I completed my PhD in computer science. I studied also a teacher training program for German and computer science. And in my research, I'm focusing on learning technology, educational data mining, and latest, I'm working with a bunch of large language models to improve the process of education. And you might see some things that I do or we do in this context this semester, because we have a few cool things prepared that you can use for homeworks and assignments and stuff like that.
Exactly. So in the course team, it's not our two, we are many people in behind. So the practical streaming team you will see in a little bit 1.5 hour again, maybe, is Julia and Michael. And we also have an assignment coordinator, is Lena. Lena is responsible for all the assignments, to have an overview, a big picture of all the assignments, and will also give you for each assignment a short introduction video where she explains what you have to do. What are the assignments? Of course, we will talk about it a little bit later. In our team, we have many other student assistants or tutors. I think we are 18, something like that.
Yep.
So Alex and me are the lecturer team, and we have 18 tutors which assist us because otherwise it wouldn't be possible.
And some of them are even in the chat. You might have realized them. Miguti, for example, just dropped the message. And we also have Luki here. Maybe Yula is also here. So yeah, they are also here around and will also moderate the chat a bit with us together. So whenever you have questions, raise them in the chat and someone of our team will answer them for you.
And if we say something in English which isn't really, or which you do not understand, please feel free to write in the chat. Please explain it in German. I think we can also switch to German for short and do it in German again.
Sure.
Okay, some general information. We have our official course website, which is already linked here. By the way, we will give you all the slides later on this course website, so you will get it with all the links. So it's no need that you type now all these links. We have a Discord server. The Discord server is for questions. Alex yesterday sent an email where all this information about Discord already was inside. But here's also a QR code. You can use this QR code to come to our Discord server. It's for general questions, and we also will announce there everything about the lecture. And then
Exactly.
we need a little bit the Teach Center. Maybe you know the Teach Center from other courses already. It's for registrations, for coding session and homeworks. What this all is about, we will talk in a few minutes, I think, and we will tell you. So, as we already said, this course had 2 course lecturers. It's us. We have 18 teaching assistants and we have more than 700 students, which means it's, first of all, I think the largest course in the whole university. Challenge for us a little bit. And then that's why please follow a few orders or follow this ordering if you have questions. So ask at Discord. Please check also if you have questions on Discord, check if there are already answered questions or if they already has been asked. Ask the lecturers, ask us in the lecture or in the practicals, ask your tutor. We also offer you question hours, so ask at question hours. And if you really have personal concerns and it's not possible to do all the 4 steps above, then it's okay, then you write us an email. But please, for us too, it's very hard if we get, I don't know, 50 emails a day from every student. I think that's not manageable. So please use the other channels before, and if it's really a personal concern, then you can write us an email.
Yeah, so please stick to that. This is really important. And as David also said, we have the coding@graz.at where we both have access. So, but just in case it's like a personal thing, like you have some very, I don't know, an accident or something like that. So just in these cases, or you have some severe issues, otherwise Discord is the place to be. There are also some questions that we were sure that they will be asked, and we put them in the FAQ section of the course website. So make sure to check this course website. Obviously, there's all the information. So whenever there's whenever you want to know something or you're not sure about something, just check the course website first. We try to put all the information on that website. And if it's missing, we're very keen to do this as soon as possible.
Yeah, so later on we will also switch to the course website and give you a short overview how it looks like. But first I think we talk a little bit about the lecture and the practicals and our live streams. So
that sounds good, yeah.
As you might have seen, we are streaming via YouTube, and one of the most asked questions is, do I have to attend? Do I have to be online? And no, so there's no compulsory attendance, keine Anwesenheitspflicht in German. But we highly recommend you to watch the videos or the recordings, because if you miss 1 week or 2 weeks, and if you are delayed, it's very hard to keep focus and to keep getting all the stuff together. So we highly encourage you to stay with us, maybe watch the recording on the next day or on the weekend. But yeah, especially if you're new to the topic, I think watching all the lectures and the practicals is highly recommended. So the practicals normally are on Thursdays from 15:15 to 16:15, but now we've switched in October, so the practicals and the lecture is switched. The reason for that is because we, in the first I think it's 3 lessons, we want to give some general examples in the lecture, and the practicals then will implement them. And after that, it's not necessary to have this order, and we switch it to first practicals and then lecture. But in October, we have first the lecture and then the practicals. So the lecture will take part from 15:15 to 16:45, and then 15 minutes break for you, have a drink, go on the toilet, and then the practicals is 1 hour with Julia and Michi. So the course in general, Alex, why do I have to take this course?
Yeah, several reasons. You decided to sign up for a computer science degree, or at least a degree or program that is somehow linked to computer science. I know we have some people from electrical engineering here as well. So please also feel as like a computer scientist in that context, but you also need it for like several reasons in your electrical engineering degree. So overall, what we want to do here is to give you an overview about programming in general, and to be more precise in the C programming language in detail. And this will be really important for your later on study, also for your professional life. So we try to give you all the important skills that you need later on. So I think this is the main reason why you have to take this course, and it's also a mandatory course. Because the question why C popped up already a few times. I assume that this question will be asked today, and that's the reason why I put it also in the FAQ section, the course website. So make sure to check why we use C. It has several reasons, but yeah, there you can see actually the official statement why we're using C. I wouldn't say it's the best point to start into programming, but actually it has some good reasons why it is, especially here at TU Graz. There are some good reasons why we start with C, because you will need it later on quite some time.
Exactly, yeah. So there are many other courses which this course really is the foundation, and you need to know C and C++ programming. And you teased it a little bit, but what will I learn in this course, Alex?
Yeah, first of all, we don't want to give you a C programming course. We want to give you a course on thinking like a computer scientist and solving problems like a computer scientist. This is an important skill that you will get over this course and that you will need in your further studies as well. We will show you how to write programs, how to test programs, but also how to use different tools to create these programs and test these programs actually. And yeah, of course, obviously, we will work with the C programming language here as well.
So I switched to German short because there's a question in German, ob die Lehrveranstaltung auch dann in Präsenz stattfindet. Wir werden dann gleich noch drauf kommen, wo das dann steht, wo wir wann sind, welche Dinge online sind, welche Dinge präsent sind. Die LV selbst wird hauptsächlich online sein, auch deshalb, weil der Alex eben sehr, sehr weit weg ist und deshalb in Präsenz ein bisschen schwierig wäre. Eine zweite Frage war noch, ob es irgendwelche Vorgaben gibt zum Programmieren. Nein, da tut es, glaube ich, wirklich jeder Laptop. Das ist auch so eine Frage, die immer wieder kommt. So this is a very common question. Which laptop do I need to program? And especially for C programming, I think nearly every laptop is possible to program in C because it's very, very basic programming. Okay, so I think we now go to the lecture, so the Vorlesung part, and talk a little bit about what we want to present you in the lecture. So these are the hard facts, I would say. So as already said, the lecture is on Thursdays, except in October, that's on now, so 15, but afterwards in November and December, it's Thursdays 16 or 30 until 18 o'clock. And where? We do it on YouTube. So especially October and November, we will do it on YouTube. And when Alex then is back, maybe we have to discuss it. Maybe in December we will go to lecture hall, but we have to discuss it and we will let you know. What do we learn? What do you learn? Alex already said it's a concepts about programming itself, but also the concepts behind. We two will give you the lecture, Alex and David, and that's an interesting question, how to pass the lecture. I think in the next 2 slides, I will give you a short introduction how you will pass the lecture. But first, we have the schedule. That's a general overview of what we want to do in the lecture in the next upcoming weeks. Today is our kickoff, and with a short additional topic, what is data? Then we have 2 times lessons with computational thinking. Then we start in November with C, dive into C using pointers, arrays, and strings, memory management, and to round it all up in Christmas or shortly before Christmas, we will have a Christmas lecture, and that's mostly very funny. That's the funny part, maybe.
Yeah, when it comes to the exams, this might be later that semester. So we have usually 3 exams per semester. So you have over the whole year the chance to do 6 exams in total, but you have to only pass it once. So whenever you have passed it, then you're good. So you don't have to take all of the 6 exams. In the lecture, you have to take 1 exam, pass 1 exam, and then you're done. Then you get the credits for the exam, for the Vorlesung, like for the lecture part. Our exam mode is based on like computer. Since we're talking about programming here, it wouldn't make sense to like give you pen and paper and to work actually or program by hand. And for this reason, we have a computer-based exam mode. We have 2 exam modes. One is bring your own device, which means you take a laptop, come to the lecture hall, do the programming part there. But we have some issues since the system that we're using to program or to take the exam, which is called Safe Exam Browser, is just working for macOS and Windows. And for this reason, Linux users might have a problem. And since there are a bunch of Linux users out, we also provide you with a second option to go to the IT Lernzentrum, where you're equipped with computers in there. So you can actually work on the computers there. They provide you with a Windows device, at least for the exam. You take this exam and then you're good. As I said, we have 3 exams in this semester, starting in December. Then we have one in mid-January and one in February. And you have to take one of these exams. You could theoretically start already in December, but honestly, if you're a first-time programmer, I wouldn't suggest you to take the first exam. I would say in that case, you should do January, February. Usually December is where we are about to finish with our official part, like with the course content. And so I wouldn't suggest to do that if you programming for the first time, especially since the practical part will continue to the end of the semester, so until January. So you might get some good practice while working on these assignments. If you want to take an exam, you have to register yourself at TU Graz Online. This is mandatory because then we can see who wants to actually take an exam. And we highly emphasize on coming prepared to the exam. So when you take an exam and you fail, that's okay. But then you come to another exam and then you fail again. And at a certain point, where you fail too often, you will get a kommissionelle Prüfung, which is not a very good situation because you're nervous. We are also kind of in a stressed situation since we also want you to pass this course, actually. So we don't want you to fail this course. And then you might have to retake it. And this is always a very stressful situation. So please really come prepared. Don't go to the exam just to actually see what we give for the exam. We will always provide you with the latest exams. So whenever the exam is over, we will upload the description of the exam online so you can practice a lot. And it's way better to practice than to just come to the exam and see actually what it is about.
Exactly, yeah. So there are a few questions also in a wider way. Do I need the safe exam browser? And I think yes. So we only write the exam in the safe exam browser. No other browser is possible.
Right.
Okay. So we know that there are many questions in the chat, of course, but most of them. So I'm reading it from time to time, and most of them will be discussed or explained in a few slides. So wait a few minutes and then we will answer your questions, I think. So the grading, this is the grading scheme with the grades. I think the most important thing for you is to get more than 50 out of 100 points. So to get a good grade, a positive grade. And the other things, yeah, it's just for an overview to have this here. Do you want something to add at the lecture in general, Alex?
I don't think so. You will get an idea how the lecture is and what it is about in the next weeks, I would say. So overall, the lecture is more about the theoretical concepts that we're discussing within this course. We try to give you like an engaging and motivating and fun overview about programming and programming concepts. And in the practical part, which we will tell you in a few minutes, you will actually do the programming part. This is the part which might be more interesting in terms of hands-on experience. So this is the part where actually you do a lot of coding. So to pass the lecture, you just have to take one exam, pass it once, and then you're good. For the practical part, you have to do way more. But I think we're going to tell you about that in a minute.
Yeah, let's dive into the practicals. Because as you already said, you have to try it out. So programming is interesting if you listen to us while we are programming and watching us, but you only learn it if you do it yourself. So the only way to learn a new programming language is by writing programs in it. And that's really true in general in every programming language. You can watch thousands of YouTube videos and you might know a little bit about the language, but you only really learn it and you can write it if you write it by yourself. This is also our goal in this practicals, so this Konstruktionsübung in German, where we want you to write programs, we give you assignments, and you have to write your own programs, and we then talk about it with your tutors. So again, some hard facts. The practicals take part normally from 15:15 to 16:15 on Thursdays, but again, we switched it in October. Also here on YouTube, so the YouTube live stream is also available. If we make a break then, 50 minutes break, and then we start with the next stream. here in the practicals, you really exercise programming. So this is maybe the interesting part, not only listen to how we explain something, but really you can apply the knowledge you gathered. Julia and Michi will do it. We'll do the practical live streaming session, and then give you the assignments. And how to pass this practical part is separated in many small tasks, so not only an exam like the lecture. So you have some activities over the semester, and we will talk about it now. So the first thing you should do, or you have to do to pass the practicals, you get 3 assignments. And this is the main component. Let's call it like this. 3 assignments where you program, you get a task, and you have to program it afterwards. So there's a deadline, you have an assignment interview with one of your tutors. It's also called Abgabegespräch or AG. So the Abkürzung ist AG. And I also have read it already in the chat, you work only individually. So there's no group work. You work individually on your own solution. Each assignment has a kickoff, and that's most likely after the live stream. So Michi and Julia will talk about it, and then you will get the assignment description. And we also will deliver you a test system with each assignment. It's a Git repository. What is Git and what is a repository? Both of you will be explained in an hour or so, then from Julia and Michi. And we also provide you public test cases. I think also this will be described what a test case is later on. So this 3 assignments is the first component of your work you have to do. Maybe you want to add something, Alex?
No, that sounds good. But the second component, I can continue with that. 3 homeworks that you have to do. So what is a homework compared to an assignment? An assignment is like a larger project. So it's more of like you get a description and you have to do some programming. You have to run through test cases and stuff like that. In the homeworks, which are mainly like in the first half of the semester, we will provide you with a few minor tasks, which are not that intense as an assignment is. It also requires no programming skills. Actually, it's more like a conceptual thing that you understand, for example, how to solve a problem, how to set up like the programming environment, and also how to like play a bit around with some tools that we provide you with. So it's more to get a solid understanding of what you're actually doing. And it's also, again, individual work. So you're not supposed to do this with anyone else. We will provide you with it, and you write the report usually and upload it in the Teach Center. And today you will get actually the first homework, which Michi and Julia will introduce in the KU stream then. Exactly. And besides the homeworks, we will have something else as well, so-called coding sessions. And the coding session is a way to interact with other students, which might be quite nice in the first semester. Probably have realized it's not always easy to like find a group and like team up with other students. And we want to give you this opportunity here in this course as well. And therefore, we have so-called coding sessions. And this is like a regular meeting where at least or about 15 students will meet and discuss about a specific topic. And it's not just like you guys sitting with a tutor. So there will be a tutor explaining you or giving you some instructions, leading the discussion, and you will have to actively participate in these sessions. By participating, I mean you have to register for a session, then you get a task that you have to do in beforehand. So it's actually work you do at home, and then you have to upload your solution at Teach Center before the coding session starts. And then you attend the session actually, and what you do in this session has to do with actually what you did before. So it's based on that. And after the session, you submit a report, which is like a reflection on the session, what you learned, what you did, and stuff like that. These sessions are not mandatory. You don't have to go, but you will get points therefore. So you should go, but it's not as you would fail if you don't go to the coding sessions. In total, you get 9 points for the coding sessions. You should attend at least 3 sessions to get 9 points, but you don't get more. But you can attend more. If you say, okay, these coding sessions really helped me to get an understanding for programming, for the course, then you can, of course, join more coding sessions. It's not to put pressure on you with the coding sessions. The idea of this coding sessions is more to interact with students, to talk a bit about ideas. And you will see usually the assignments or like the tasks you will get for the coding sessions. They are also related, like very homework based. So the tasks are not super intense programming things. It's more also again of something that lead to discussion where you can actively like discuss, participate with the others, or like participate in a conversation with others. So this might be also a good thing, like to get a good overview.
Exactly.
The
So we
sessions
notice-
are weekly, but as I said, you don't have to attend all sessions, but I think we will explain how this works later on, right?
Yeah, so the points you will get, we have a separate slide for that. We also linked here a detailed description of how this coding session works. So this is our course page. We have again here a detailed description. You can read it later on. We will of course give you the slides later, and then you can read it. It's a little bit difficult in the first place to understand what we want to do, of course. So you have to do all this kind of things here, but I think it's a good idea to get interactive with other students, as Alex already said, and to talk a little bit about problems you get from us. Yeah. So
And,
yeah, how to receive points.
Two questions where if they are like online or offline, they're in person, so you actually have to go to room at 2 Graz, so they're actually in person. But you might find a proper slot for you, because we have slots every day a week except Friday, for 3 hours in total, and one session is 1 hour. So actually, you might find a good proper slot for you, since we have a lot of possibilities there. For overall, I think 18 slots a week. Please correct me if I'm wrong, David.
Something like that, yeah, 18 a week.
Yeah.
So on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoon, and I think in the morning. So yeah, there should be a possibility for you to find a suitable slot.
Yeah. Exactly. They will start in 2 weeks from now, I guess, and we will send you an information or post something on Discord when you can enroll or register for this. So since the question popped up if you can already sign in there for, no, not yet, because you will get the description for the first session and then can also like assign for the session.
Yeah. So for all this information, of course, we will give it to you to our course website, but I also would highly recommend you to join our Discord server, because all these announcements we will also write in our Discord server. Do we need a laptop for this session, Alex?
They taking mainly place in the IT Lernzentrum, which means there will be notebooks there, or like no notebooks, but there will be computers there.
Yeah. So of course you can take your laptop with you, but it's not mandatory. There are all computers there where you can work on. Okay, so how do you receive your points? All these tasks we presented to you, all combined have 100 points. So the homework, so we give you free homework, and each of them is 3 points. It's not that much, but it's a little bit, and yeah, if you want to get a good grade, you have to do the homework. Then the assignments, of course, are the most important part to give the most points. Assignment 1 with 18 points, assignment 2 with 24 points, and assignment 3 with 40 points. And the coding sessions then give you 3 points per session, so a maximum of 9 points. In total, then you can get 100 points. So the coding sessions are not mandatory, the homework is not mandatory to do, and even the assignment 1 and assignment 2 is not mandatory, but we highly recommend you to do it, of course, because they are give you many points. Assignment 3, I think we have minimum requirements, so you have to do assignment 3 and you have to pass 25% of the test cases, but we will talk about it later, what this means for you. So the schedule for the practicals or the KU, here are some dates. We also have a Google spreadsheet where we have all these dates inside. I think we have linked it somewhere, and we will also give it to you in our course website or on Discord. I think, yeah, we can give you a link to this. Then we have all this homework assignments with all lectures inside. Should we just switch to the course website and show it?
Sure, sure, sounds good.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
so maybe we show you that this is our course website, and of course in the beginning it's a little bit much to view, but you can here see this is all for practicals on the right side. The left side is for the lectures. We will give you here the lecture slides as soon as we have uploaded it. Here is the coding sessions description. Here is also again the practical structure, as we have talked now in more detail. How to set up your device. This is what Julia and Michi will talk about in a few minutes. How you get your points in the assignments and many more. Here's also the homework already linked. So this is a good overview of all this, and we have this semester schedule here. Maybe I show it in short. Yeah. Here is all the lectures we want to do, the practicals we want to do, and the homework, so you can watch this and keep these dates in mind. Do you want something to add to the course website, or should we continue here?
No, I think we're good with that.
Okay. So yeah, points at the assignments. We changed our assignment grading a little bit, but it's fundamentally the same. So 70% of your points at the assignments are based on functionality, and functionality means for us the number of past test cases. A test case is like a program which tests your program. So we give your program a specific input and read then the output of your program. And if the output is exactly this, what we want to see from your program, then you pass the test case. Of course, if you're not familiar with this, is a little bit hard to understand now, but we will discuss it in more detail in the practicals. I think Michi and Julia will show an example of it to get used to it, how this test case functionality works. So 70% of your programming tasks of your assignment are based on functionality, and 30% are based on the code quality. So not only that your program works is important, but also that you write nice programs that are readable, maintainable, and the style and the structure of your solution is very important here. So why do we do that? So code quality is very important because, of course, the tutors have to read your program because they are correcting it. And if it's has no structure. The style is completely different for every student. It's hard for the tutors to read the code. And that's why we want a style which everybody's follow. So it's like a style guide. And we want a structure, and we want you to learn. So it's also the course name, Einführung in die strukturierte Programmierung, so the structured programming. We want to learn you, to teach you how to program in a structured way and how it is done to program structured. So also here we have a detailed description of all this functionality and code quality part. Please take a look at this at the course website. I can open it for short. And it's a very detailed description how it works. So 70% functionality. Then we have here a text where it explains it. The code quality. So what we want you to, or how we want you to write code. And then we have a section for deductions. And please also read it carefully, because these are things that we do not want you to do. So if you do it in a bad way, we will deduct you points for it, because several reasons. Sometimes it's unnecessary complicated. Some functions, some functionality are not allowed. So please read these deductions carefully. But of course, if you read it today and you haven't programmed yet, most of the things will not sound familiar for you. It's totally fine if you do not understand what is standing there. But please keep in mind, later on, in a few weeks, or when you start with the assignments, read this again, and then we will get a better understanding what we want from you to write code, and how we want that you write code. Something to add, Alex?
No, that is really good already. Check the course website. Obviously, you will find everything there. We try to put there as much as information as we have. So there you will find actually everything. And what's not on the course website is at the Discord server. You can ask at the Discord server, actually.
Exactly, yeah. And of course, we know we are not the only lecture starting now from you. And the course website is very big already. But please read it once. You do not have to read it all now, but keep in mind, if a new homework is coming or a new assignment is coming, read again this, how we want you to program. Even it's very long, we know, but we have to give you some guidelines how you should structure your program. The question is, where can I find the website? It should be available on coding.thograz.at, so coding.thograz.at. Here we can. Does it work? Yeah, it should work, Alex.
Yeah, it should work.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, yeah. So you can come here to the course website, and of course, I think we also or will do it. Post a link on the Discord server to the course website. And I think in the Teach Center is also a link to the course website. So many possibilities to come to the course website. But if you just enter like coding.thograz.at, okay, then you come to the course website. For me, it will not work now because I'm not logged in. But if you log in, then you come to the course website. Okay, so the assignment interviews. I've already read something in the chat. What about the assignment interviews, how they work? Maybe you could explain a bit how the assignment interviews will take place and work.
Yeah, so the assignment interviews actually are mandatory. So you have 3 assignments, and after each assignment, you have to go to an assignment interview in person. So it's at the TU campus, so you have to be there. If you don't attend, you get 0 points for the entire assignment, which would be very painful, since they are like about, 20 points up. So if you don't get like the points for assignment, this will be hard to like catch up in the course. We will announce all the information and dates as soon as we will introduce the assignments. So this will be over 3 times this semester. You can see this on the course schedule. There you will find all the information where we will have the kickoff for actually the assignments, and there you will find then a detailed description, what it is about, what you should do, how you can test it. We will also release a video which gives you like an overview about the assignments, so you can watch this anytime, and this will contain all the important information that you actually need to do the assignments. The assignment interview itself is working in a way that you will get asked questions from tutors about your code, about like the things you did in the code, why you did something like that, or is there another way to do something? But you will also have to extend your program during the assignment interview. So the tutors will ask you, hey, can you please add this feature? And then you have like half an hour, depending on which assignment, to add things in the code as well.
Exactly. So it's really for us a very important point, these assignment interviews, because we want to know if you really programmed your assignment by yourself, and we're doing it by talking a little bit about it with you. You have to explain some things. How did you do that? How did you manage to get this functionality, and so on. So these assignment interviews are mandatory, as Alex already said, and you have to come. I know many of you will have fear about it, but you can talk to students from last year or last few semesters. I think they're not that fearful. Most of the tutors, I think every tutor is pretty nice, and they will help you if you're struggling. It's really just for us. We want to know if you really have programmed yourself, and if you have done all the work by yourself, you will pass the assignment interview. So don't worry about it. We really just want to find maybe a few people who want to trick us and let it code by other people or by ChatGPT, and then we want to find them, because that's a cheating attempt, and that's not good. That's not what we wanted. This is why we do these assignment interviews. So thank you, Julia. I know you changed the keyboard style from English. That's why I have struggled from TU Graz before. Yeah. Okay. So we want you to practice, and we give you the assignments, we give you the homework, but we also give you voluntary exercises. This is really not mandatory. This is completely voluntary. We say that you learn programming only if you practice, and more practice. And that's why a few years ago, Michi and I did a collection of voluntary exercises with a possible solution. So we also give you a solution, and we give you tests. So the collection is linked here, and you can try to write your own solution. You can test it, and then you can look at our possible solution. And as it stands here, it's a possible solution. It's maybe not the best way to do it. It's one possible solution to parse this problem. But yeah, it's our way to do it. And maybe one important point in this case is there is never only one possible solution for a program. So you can write the same program in infinite number of ways. And that's why we deliver your solution, and your solution could be completely different, but also works. So yeah, that was the or let's come to the not so funny part, unfortunately, but we have to come to it. I already saw it in the chat. It's the red part of this lecture. It's about plagiarism, and we have to be very strict here, do we, Alex?
Yeah, unfortunately, we have to. And plagiarism is a very severe and important thing for us. So we don't tolerate any plagiarism. What is plagiarism actually? When you copy code from different source without citing this properly, when you get code from colleagues without citing it properly, but also if you discuss something like ideas with colleagues and don't cite that properly. So we're very picky about that. If you cite that you did like an assignment or like if you a part of an assignment with someone else, then you have to at least write this into the comments. Don't get me wrong, it's an individual work, so you're not supposed to do this with anyone else. But if there might be like a function that you struggle with or something like that, and you discuss this with someone, or you find a very proper solution somewhere on the internet, you might want to use this code, but then you have to cite it. And there is a clear rule how many percent of your code can be from different sources as well. And take this serious, because at the end of the semester, we're running a plagiarism check. And this software is really good at finding plagiarism. And then we will invite you, if we have the feeling that this might be plagiarized, then we will invite you to an interview, and then you have to explain us in detail. And like the saddest case or the hardest case would be that you get a Täuschungsversuch, which means you're reported of being cheated to the Dean of Studies, which is not really good at all, actually. We also treat this quite similar with LLMs, so with ChatGPT, with GitHub Copilot as well. If you're using these tools to generate code, fine. But then you have to cite it properly, actually, and it is not allowed to be more than 20% of the code overall. And so, yeah, as you are like, I don't know, 700 to 800 students, and if everyone would use ChatGPT or Copilot, you can be absolutely sure that we will figure this out at some point when doing the plagiarism check, because these tools are really smart at what they're doing. So please be really very exact when you take code from somewhere else to cite it. It's perfectly fine, but you have to do this actually, so you don't get in trouble. And especially those parts of the code which are cited to be from like a different source, this might be the focus of the assignment interview actually, because we want to know if you know what this code actually does. You're not supposed to take like code from somewhere else and use it and don't know what it's actually doing. So we want you to know what this code is about.
Exactly. So as we yeah, in the chat are many questions as we have thought about it. I don't know if we can answer them all, but most of them are of course related to ChatGPT. So just to make it clear, maybe ChatGPT in general is not forbidden. You can use ChatGPT for explanations. Okay, how does this work? How does this work? We encourage this. And also to talk to other students is totally fine, but you should not, or you're not allowed to copy just code from ChatGPT into your assignment. That's what we don't want. And especially, or the same is for copy code from any other person.
Yeah,
that's plagiarism.
We also have very good experience already with that. I'm giving this course since 4 years already. So usually we figure out the real plagiarism. So don't worry if you think you have a code which is somehow similar to the code of somewhere else, especially during the first assignment, which is like 100 to 150 lines of code. There might be some similarities, but we figured this out. So We have the software, we have tutors, and latest also David and I, we will go through the exam. So if we really think this could be plagiarism, at least three options are that we could filter this out. And then we will always have like a interview where we will talk about that. And there might be some coincidence. And if we came to the conclusion it is just a coincidence, then you don't have to worry about anything. I would say within the last 4 years, we never classified a program as plagiarism, which wasn't actually. So don't worry about that too much, actually.
Yeah, that was one of the most asked questions in the chat. So what happens if I wrote my code really by myself, but our plug checker says that it's plagiarism? So you have a little bit more experience than me, Alex, but I think we have never ever had one group that said, okay, that's test case. All of them said, okay, yeah, we have done it. So we will really detect the ones who really did it.
Yeah. So yeah, you don't have to worry about that too much. I know this sounds somehow very scaring, but you will see over the semester that it gets clearer and clearer. And if you work properly and if you follow the instructions that we give you on the next slide, then actually don't worry about that too much.
Yeah, maybe we switch back to this black, because this red is very hard for the eyes. So how could you avoid all this we are talking about? So the most important thing is that you never show your code to other ESP students or post it somewhere on the internet. So do not post it on Discord, on WhatsApp, send it to a friend in Telegram or whatever. Studo is also a often used platform for sharing code, but please do not do it. Do not share your code, because you do not know who will take this code. And maybe if you are finished with your assignment and you post your solution on Studo or on Discord, and another person take this solution and also submit it, for us it's very hard to identify who wrote the code really and who just copied it, and both will get a plagiarism. So it's really not worth it. So the first rule really is never show your code to other students. Of course you can talk about it, but do not show your code or post it somewhere. So if you take code from other resources, keep the requirements. We also have a link here. It's also on our course website, and here is also a short description what we have talked about it now. And here you can cite. So you have to mark your. Can you maybe make it a little bit bigger? Yeah, now you can read it. You have to mark here a begin and an end section, and you have to write where this section comes from. And I think we agreed that how many percent are allowed maximum?
20%, I guess.
So 20%, yeah.
The last bullet points, the total length of all parts sourced from external sources must not exceed 1/5.
Yeah. So a maximum of 20%. But as Alex already said, be aware that these parts will be typically asked at the assignment interviews. Because you copied it from somewhere else, and we want to know if you really understand it, what you copied there. But you have to put everything what's not your code, where you copied some from any resource. You have to mark it with a begin section and an end section. Of course, if it's only 2 lines of code and it's just a very small thing, which I guarantee is somewhere on the internet, this shouldn't have this you don't have to mark. But if it's an algorithm about 20 to 40 lines, you have to mark it, because this might be very unique.
Exactly. So as I said, I know there are a lot of questions, and we will introduce you in 1 minute to like some program that might help you also with that. Worry about plagiarism, but don't worry about them too much. I see that the chat is going crazy, and trust me, the chat is going crazy since 4 years when we're
All of the
introducing
time,
this.
yeah.
But at the end of the semester, we usually have 30, 40 students out of like 600 students that actually might have like a plagiarism attempt, and then 6 to 7 actually do have. So don't worry about that too much if you are open and transparent about what you're doing. So this is the key. Cite everything. And I know there are design patterns that are commonly used, but those won't harm you anyway, because it's like programming. I'm working in software industry since 15 years. So I know that there's like copying someone else's code is a thing, but we don't want you to copy code from other persons, like having a patchwork from different code. But we want you to write the code. And actually, it is pretty fine to, if there's a good algorithm out there, sure, why not take it? But just like say, okay, I took it from there, be honest about that. It's not a big deal. And how to cite properly, Nesta, we already wrote that a bit upper in the chat. It's on the course website. David just showed it literally.
Yeah, so I can open it again. I think it was here. So you just mark it with begin. So here you can write your code and mark it with begin and end, and above a comment where you say, okay, I have taken it from this source, for example.
Yeah, like above here, it's from Stack Overflow, for example. Or if you scroll down, David, below there, you can also see how to work with the code that you like develop with other people together.
Yeah. Okay.
Are we allowed to open source our code? Sure, you can do this.
Yeah, but I would highly recommend to not open source your code during the semester, because
that's not a good idea.
of course, somebody else can see it and then take your solution as his or her solution. So of course you can do it, but don't do it when all the assignment interviews and everything is done. Then of course you can open source it. Yeah. So yeah,
okay, I would say go on, since there are like thousands of questions about that, but many things will get clearer during the semester.
Yeah. So what is this student mentoring program, Alex?
This is something I want to introduce, and then we're actually done with the introduction. This is something new, and this is something super cool that we introduced. So over the last semesters and years, we have realized that there are a bunch of questions that may raise up during ESP related to programming at all, how to set up like a Linux machine, how to do this in programming. I have like lack of understanding for a certain concept. And therefore, we decided to create a student mentoring program for all of our ESP students. So you will get mentored by people that already passed ESP in like a previous semester. The idea is that we have a dedicated group of mentors. There are like 60 to 70 mentors out there. And those mentors have a group of 10 students each. So you will be in a quite nice little group. And these mentors also follow some clear rules. So they take a course which is actually called Mentoring Students in Basic C Programming. So this is also a course for them. So they are also highly interested in helping you. So this is a system, a mentoring system. This is just for you. And within this mentoring system, you will get help, they will support you, and these mentors will contact you to like team up and to like, yeah, actually meet in person, online, offline, however you want to have this. And you can ask these mentors questions about things that might be not clear, like how is it really with plagiarism, how is the situation like. So these kind of questions it's probably sometimes easier to ask this not to like David and me or to a tutor. You can also discuss with like experienced students about these things as well. The mentoring is not mandatory. You will be assigned to a tutor or to a mentor. We have to be very strict about that. It's a mentor, not a tutor. But you can decide if you want to take this or not. So it's really helpful if you do this actually, and give it a try. I mean, the worst thing that can happen is you like get to know a few people, get some new friends, but also get help about your programming things. So that's actually perfectly fine. Maybe you could go to the next slide, David, because there we have a link that we will also post in the chat now, which is like an assignment formula. So please fill out this form for a very easy reason. We will have something like a matching. We ask you some easy questions. Actually, filling this out might take you 30 seconds. Do you prefer online or offline communication? And do you prefer English or German, or are you both fine with both during this mentoring? And on the other hand, we have some mentors which fill out the same, and then we try to match you. And the mentors will contact you probably next week, since we have to finish this like assigning. And if you know already a mentor, so there is no list of mentors. You won't see who is a mentor actually, for privacy reasons. But if you know already from a friend of yours from like a third semester, fifth semester, whatever, that he's doing mentoring or she's doing mentoring, you can write the email address of him or her into the field, and then we can assign you to each other. Otherwise, you get randomly assigned, which will be also perfectly fine. If there's some issues with your mentor, please contact us on Discord, and then we can discuss this. But as I said, the mentors are also students that want to get a grade, so they want to also support you as good as they can. And there are also very clear rules about what a mentor is allowed to do and what not. So actually, they should not obviously write any code for you or for the assignment, but they know about that, because then both of you will have some issues with plagiarism. So yeah, but we had an event already with the mentors where we explained how this works, so they will know about all of these things. And yeah, there will be different ways to communicate. So you can meet them like online. You have a Signal group, a WhatsApp group, a Discord server, whatever, or you can like meet in person. Going to, this is what I mean by offline communication. You can go to the Lernzentrum, to a bar, to a restaurant, to some different place. So wherever you prefer, but the mentor will contact you and will discuss how the interaction modality might take place.
Exactly. So I think you answered all the questions in the chat which came up during you talked about it. So very nice. And I think we are done with the organization part. And this is the last slide from our organization, from our kickoff. And I think most of you have this in mind. So which program do I need to write code, or which operating system, or even what are they talking about? I read a few times, what are they talking about? I do not understand it. And that's really, trust us, it's normal if you do not understand all what we have talked about now. So what is a test system? What are test cases? These are all things you will get in the next few weeks, and we want to talk a lot about it now. But if you, let's say in 3 weeks, watch again this kickoff meeting or click through the slides, trust me, you will understand much more than you get now maybe. So if you have questions, of course, we have the Discord server, we have the practicals, and many other questions will be asked in the practicals in a few minutes. But I think, Alex, we come to our content we have prepared for today. And this is really the entry point to our programming tasks, to our computer science, to Einführung in die strukturierte Programmierung. And it's about computer science, and computer science is really just more than programming. Computer science is, in a very basic way, problem solving. So to solve a problem, this is a very conceptual, basic example of it. You have some input, then you have this black box, and then you have some output. And you have to convert this input to this output by solving a problem. And you do that by something that's called computational thinking, which is really what it says, thinking like a computer does. And before we can do that, we have to know how computers think. How do they calculate something? And that is what we are talking about now. And in the next 2 lectures, really is about computational thinking. So to get you in the mood to write them programs, at first we think that you should be able to think like a computer, to think like a programmer. Then it's easier to write programs. But at first we have to think about what is this input and what is this output. Is this just language, or is this information in general? What is information, or what is data? And data is, and this is again a very, very basic example. Let's suppose we have here an Excel file, and we have, this is really just an example data set, but we have, maybe make it a little bit bigger for you. So we have here some data. We have here products. So this is the description of the product. This is the price of a product. The quantity we have in the stock, so in the Lager, im Lager haben. And this is the value, which is calculated just the price times the quantity. If it's currently reduced, and a category, whatever this category might be. And we also have here an ID of this product. And interestingly, we have here many different types of data. So, Alex, for example, what would you describe as the type of data this description has?
I would actually say the description is text. So
Text, yeah.
Yeah, it's a text.
Just text. What is this category, maybe?
I would say it's like a letter.
A letter, yeah, or a character,
B,
yeah.
T, yeah, character.
Then we have these prices here. What this could be?
The price, I mean, it's a currency, or at least a floating point number.
Exactly. So it's a number or a floating point number. So a number with decimal places. This is again a number. So the quantity is just a number. Here we have again currency as an Währung. It's number. And this one, it's interesting. What would you say is the last column here? What type of information?
I would say some logical value. Actually, it's yes or no.
So it's just yes or no. So as you can see here, there are different kind of information. And let's go back to the slides. As Alex already said, so the first thing, I think we skipped the first thing, but it's text. It's a combination of text and numbers, but you cannot store characters in a number. So, but you can store numbers in a text. So this is a text. The character, then this is also a text, a number, and the last column is then logical again. And this is the very basic naming convention. We use a little bit different terminology for that. And we call the first one a string. So string is basically a text. A category in this case is just one letter, is a character. Then the descriptions are a string again, so it's just words. A float is it called when you have decimal places at a number, at an integer. This is an integer. It does not have decimal places, also keine Nachkommastellen in German. Or again, a float. And the last one is called bool. So it's a logical version, a Boolean variable, which has only two states. It can be true or false, or in this case, yes or no. So there only has two states for this. So maybe
at that point, just because these terms are very commonly used English terms, but maybe we want to elaborate what the German word therefore would be, just to be sure that everyone would get it. So a string is basically a Zeichenkette. So we will always use the word string, and you will see actually in programming it's always called a string. A character is actually a Zeichen. A float is a Gleitkommazahl. An integer is just ist quasi eine
Zahl.
Genau, eine Zahl ohne Nachkommastellen. And the bool is ein Wahrheitswert, which can be 0 or 1. There were some questions related to what is a float, what is a double, stuff like that. Don't worry about that too much. We will talk about these things later in the lecture as well. We want to stay very basic for today. So we will have these discussions very soon.
Okay, so now I think the chat is very active, but we want to know a little bit about you. What do you think? What type of data do you know? Maybe is there any data we have not presented yet? What type of data do you know?
Yeah, so what actually do you think data is, or which types of data are out there?
So we presented a few, of course, the currency, the descriptions of a product, but of course there are so many other things what data can be. And I read some things already in the chat which are very programming related, but please keep in mind we do not want to be very programming related now. So datum, yeah, exactly. Date of a day, for example, is very good.
We'll call it barcode.
Barcode, interesting, yeah.
Every kind of information. Actually, that's Emily. That's a good point. Actually, so also this discussion: what is data? What is information? That's good. I like it. A list,
that's also
timestamp.
Also interesting. What is this data? Maybe we can go to the next part of this slide. Is this data, for example, is this also data? Or
would you say that this is data?
Yeah. Hopefully most of you know it, but is this data?
Yes.
Yes, it's data. Yeah.
It's an image with RGB values. We will talk about that later on. Yeah, I think we all agree on that is data, actually.
Yeah. Is this data? Do you know, Alex, what it is, or is it just?
I know what it is.
Really?
No,
okay.
It's on purpose. So actually, does anyone probably know what this could be? It's like a riddle. Or what could this be?
Yeah. But does it also have really propose? So.
Oh yeah, we have its coordinates. It's our coordinates.
Yeah.
And which location is it? So yeah, TU Graz actually. That's pretty easy. I wanted to do something really fancy, but then I decided to use TU Graz. So actually quite good. It's the longitude and latitude from TU Graz.
Exactly. So is this information? Maybe most of you have not seen this in this representation. But it's also information or data. And as you can see, all of this is data, but in a completely different way. So of course, one is an image, numbers, and what is there on the right is, we will talk also about in a few minutes. So let's start maybe with the very, very basic thing. So how can data represent it? And this is really the most basic thing we can think of, is a counting system called unary, and that counts, the system consists only of one symbol, and this is by convention the symbol 1. So, for example, if you want to present or represent the number 1, you can say 1. Then you can say 2. Then you can say 3, and so on. So you have one symbol, and it only can have one value. The little bit advanced thing is then a binary system. So each of these, let's say the fingers I've done before, has 2 states or 2 possibilities or 2 symbols. So my finger can be up or my finger can be down. So there are 2 symbols. By convention, normally it is 0 and 1. And we call this symbol a bit. So a bit is just a representation. And if we know, okay, we can only have 1 or 0. What if we want to have higher numbers? Yeah, just take another bit and then we have more representations. If we have 8 bits together, they are called 1 byte. And if we have 1 byte, we have 2 to the power of 8 possible values, which are 256 values. And this is a help for a calculation, which we will do for now. And we will calculate and we will present a few binary numbers, and then we calculate what the decimal number really is. So let's suppose we have this binary number here, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0. And we calculate the value here by just adding up these numbers here. So we can take 8 plus 4 plus 2. So everything where a 1 is, we can add them up. Or we can also use the power notation. So 2 to the power of 3 is 8, or 2 to the power of 2 is 4. So each value here can be 0 or 1 at 2 states. And if we calculate this, so 8 plus 4 plus 2 is 14. Let's take another number. Let's take this representation. We have 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1. So it's 32 plus 8 plus 2 plus 1. Do the maths and then we get 43. This is a hard one, maybe some for the chat. So we have this bit here and the other bits here. So what this can be, maybe someone knows in the chat which number this is. 135, yeah. Another 12 is a little bit too low. Yeah, it's 135 because you calculate the 128 plus, here is the next one, so plus 4 plus 2 plus 1, and this is 135. So this is the binary representation. But maybe you know this representation of data is the decimal representation. I think you have heard about it. It's the most common one. It's a counting system consisting of 10 symbols. So we do not have 2 symbols, we have 10 now. So from 0 to 9. And again, we have here some places where the data is in. And here each value can have the symbol from 0 to 9. And again, if we do the math and say, okay, 9 times 1000 plus 0 times 100 plus 4 times 10 plus 3 times 1, I will get a number out of it. Hopefully most of you are familiar with that. And there is another representation of data, which is commonly used in computer science, which is called hexadecimal. And hexadecimal is a counting system consisting of 16 symbols. So it had the same symbols as the decimal one, from 0 to 9. And then it represents the numbers 10 to 15 by using A, B, C, D, E, and F. And this, it turns out that it's really nice to have it, and we will see later that it's very commonly used. Again, it's the same structure. Each value can be from 0 to F, so have 16 possible values. And if we calculate it 3 times 4096, A times, so A is 10, 10 times 256, 0 times 16, and F is 15, 15 times 1, and then you come to this number here. So as we have seen, this is just a different representation of the same information. So if we have the number 12 in decimal, we can display or represent it in unary by just taking 12 times 1, or in binary by taking 1, 1, 0, 0. In decimal, it's 12, and in hexadecimal, it's represented by C. So the same information can be interpreted in different ways, however you like, in which counting system do you want to have it. So, Alex, I've talked about the numbers, and we've seen before in the Excel the different kind of information. What about characters?
Yeah, I will show you about characters actually. So we also sometimes want to represent characters because the work gets a bit boring by just displaying like decimal numbers. And so actually, if we want to have characters, the question is, which characters do we actually really need? So let's break it down to something very simple. Let's say, okay, we need A to Z, uppercase and lowercase. And what also would be quite nice would be to have, 0 to 9, which you could say, okay, that's decimal, but we also might have this as a character, because if we want to write like a phone number in like a text in string, then we need those representations as well. It's something different. You will get to know that quite soon. Yeah. What else do we need? I mean, now we have A to Z, 0 to 9. Which other like characters could we need probably?
Any suggestions in the chat, maybe?
Yeah, space, symbols, dot and space. So actually, these are the things that we need. We need this as well. As like Austrian or German-speaking people, we might also need some umlauts. So there is like a set of characters that we might need overall. And there are like some non-printable characters, as you said. Like there are tabs, spaces. You actually press something on a keyboard, but you cannot see them in a way how you would see, for example, A or B or something like that. And to deal with this situation, there is something called the American Standard Code for Information Interchange, which we also refer as ASCII, which is a code that we will use in this course quite a lot in programming. It's like, actually, it's a table where each character has like a specific value. And it's like ordered in a way that you have columns and rows, and you say, okay, the letter A has this value, the letter B has this value. And overall, ASCII has 256 characters. Some of you might wonder, isn't this a bit too less to like write all kinds of text? And yeah, you're definitely right. But there are also other like standards how to represent data or like characters. So maybe
But Alex, a question: why exactly 256 characters?
That's actually a good question, and I want to pass this question back to the chat. Do you have an idea actually why 256 characters and not 257 or whatever? Nice, great, yeah, perfect.
Exactly, yeah.
That's the correct answer. So we can represent with 1 byte, 8 bits, 256 characters. And here, actually, David showed you is how this ASCII code looks like. So we have from 0 to 127 here, but there's like the extended ASCII, which is not just 7 bits, it's 8 bits. And there's the reason why we have another 127 characters. David already put like an emphasis on this A, and this might help you to understand this. A is the decimal, or has the decimal value of 65. And we can also represent this again as binary, which means if we do this, we can also see that there's like a binary representation. And if we count the binary numbers, then we see, okay, well, it's 8 bits, it's 1 byte, and this is like what a ASCII character is like. David, when looking at the time,
Yeah.
I think we might want to continue with the rest of what is data the next time, or like to combine it with computational
Perfect.
thinking to give Julia and Michi also some room for their stuff.
So maybe I make a small cliffhanger on the next slide.
Exactly.
This is what this data could be. We will talk about it next week. So we can figure it out in the meantime. And I think we have one last slide. I will go to it, where we have all the questions. So the last slide. If you have any questions, of course, wait for the next stream in about 15 minutes. Check our course website. We have a FAQ section there. Join our Discord server, and yeah, be patient. I know we have many questions now, but we will do our best to ask the questions in Discord. And for that, maybe Alex, we close the session for today and give you a short break. Give you a short break.
So if there are any questions that still remain after the KU, then feel free. We are online, or at least I'm online at Discord, and then we'll also answer some questions as well there.
Fine. So
okay.
Thanks for being with us. Have a great break, and see you next week in about 15 minutes. Alex and not Alex, Michi and Julia will be here for you for the practicals. So thanks for joining us, and goodbye.
Yeah, bye.